Do, do, do. Yes, good for Santa. Okay, so we're going to be working with this beautiful mixed media album today. I'm going to do the cover and show you how I went about decorating the front and the back. And then we should have enough time. I'm going to show you a few of the how I did a few of the pages on the inside. So we'll go ahead and do that. First, before we start, though, I want to show you a couple of the new products that came out. Here are some of the brand new butterflies that we showed on the blog, and we gave a few away on our Facebook page this week. And as you can see, they clip on and off of your projects, so you can put them wherever you like. You can glue them in place if you'd like to, but they come already with the little clip already attached on them. You can even slide it off the clip and use it separately and have another clip or piece to work with on another project, which is really cool. So that is one of the products. Also on this album, I have some chipboard pieces. I'll show you. This little bird and branch are new. You can see that, and so is the envelope. That little envelope is new wood piece. So there are some new goodies coming out soon, so make sure you check with your local scrapbook store or online store and make sure they get those in. So those are a few of those, and I also used some of the butterflies on this layout, and it was on the blog this week too. And what I did with this one is I ran a piece of copper wire through them and put them on my page. This is Carl's. She's about, I'd say 3 in this picture. Oh. So there's another way you can use those butterflies. And I have the stamps, but they're put away in a box, so I would have to search for them, and that's not much fun. So let's go ahead and get started with the class. And I'll turn my camera down. Get that going. Okay. So what I'm going to be using today is I will be using, of course, the mixed media album cover. And I'll show you some details on this. It comes with a resist pattern on it. My lighting's going to change because of the light, just so you guys are aware of that. And also, I'll be doing a few of the sheets and going through what comes inside the actual album kit itself, which you have a lot of different mediums to work with in there. So we're also going to be using these nice little flowers. These are called Royal Verbena in Blush, and these were from 2010, but I really liked how they were flat and they were fabrics so that I could put them on in front of the journal and not worry about them getting smushed or anything like that. So we're going to be using those. I'm going to be altering these with some art mediums. I'm also going to be using some of the Love Note collection. On the instructions it says that I use I believe the Backstage, but these will work just fine. I'm using the doilies in the pack, so we're going to be altering those as well, so it really doesn't matter what color. We're also going to be using the mini bouquet. These are really fun. I like these ones. I wish they'd come back with something more like this. They come with the vine type structure to them, and they have the leaves that can be cut and used for different projects. And they have a nice little cluster of flowers that works well for the front of an album. And also, the last flowers we'll be using are these lovely sassy felt flowers in aqua. And they come with leaves, stitch leaves already attached. They're nice fabric flower that can also be used on projects that will be handled a lot. Okay, and then also I'm going to be using some of this paper. It's handmade paper. Prima carried this a while back as well. It's the Natural Obsessions. This is what the packaging looks like. I'm going to be using a couple of these pieces. Mostly this piece right here we're going to be using on the cover. I'm going to tear it apart and use the fibers for part of the element on the cover. So we're going to be using that as well. And I also have a little surprise for one of you guys. tonight at the end, we're going to be picking a winner, and somebody's going to win the cover and the insert for the mixed media album. So make sure you guys stay and hang around, because one of you may win one of these kits, so you guys can make your own art journal. So let's start. First, what I did was I went ahead and I took out my cover. Anybody can win. Okay, the covers come with your rings. You have 3 rings. I use ribbon sometimes, but you can also use the rings as well. The rings are nice because you have a lot of room for your album to expand. Now with this album, both pieces come with a resist on them. You can't really see with the video, but if you hold them up to the light and you look through them through the light, you could see what the pattern looks like. Bye, buddy. You going back out there? Close the door. So each one has a different design. This one has more of like a swirled design on it, like a flowery design, and then this one has kind of like a pattern, more of like a filigree type pattern on it. So you have 2 different choices. We're going to be spraying both, so you'll be able to hopefully see the differences in between the 2 colors. So I'm going to start out. My lighting's going to change just a bit because of the white background, but hopefully we'll change that really soon. On the cover, what I did was I used 3 different sprays. I used Tuscan Sun in Tattered Angel Spray. I also used Cornflower Days in the Chalkboard Mist. And I also used the Adirondack Color Wash by Tim Holtz. And these, I really love these because they go a really long way. Quentin, you drink that for right now, and I'll get you some later, okay? Go watch your movie. Okay, I'm locking the door, you guys. He's on a roll this afternoon, so. But back to the color wash. What I did with the color wash is I put some in a regular spray bottle, and I added just a little bit of water to it because these can go a very long ways. You get a lot of color in your spray with this spray, and I didn't want it quite as bold as what it comes out in the spray, so I just watered it down just a tad bit and added it to a regular mister spray bottle. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by, I'm going to use this cover. This one has more of the flowery design in it. You can kind of see it. And I'm going to go ahead and use my Tuscan first. I'm just going to spray kind of in the middle. And this is coming out different. Golden Terracotta is what I should have used, but we'll go back over it. It has more of a peachy salmon color to it. Just going to kind of dab some of the color off out of the canvas just to make it a little quicker to dry. And then around the edges, I'm going to spray the sunflower or the cornflower days. And then with a regular water, just plain spray spray bottle or water bottle, I'm just going to go ahead and spray over the top of it. And this will help blend in my colors and just give it a little softer look to it. And now that I have it all wet and I have my base colors down, I'm going to just go ahead and spray some of my mist kind of lightly. And what I want the effect to be is the Adirondack spray will be sprayed over the top of the wet canvas, and it'll help it bleed. And I wanted that soft watercolor bleed effect. And so with the wet canvas, that moisture will allow the paint to spread further. So that's what I did on the cover for this. And it looks really bright right now. It will dull down a little bit once the spray dries a little bit. But while it's wet, what I want to do is I want to add a little fire paste With it being wet, some of the color that is in the canvas will also bleed up into the fiber paste and add more color to your project. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my palette knife. You could also use a regular credit card or old hotel room card, whatever you have. You can spread this out with. And all I'm doing is I'm just going to add a little bit of texture. And actually, you know what? I'm going to wait till the end so I can add it at the same time with my flowers. So let's put this back aside. Plus, I need to spray the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to follow the same color pattern on the inside as well so that it's also designed and colored. And I'm going to just, on this one, just spray different pools of color in no specific pattern or order. Come on. Add my water to it just to make the colors blend a little better. Come on. Yeah, when I get to the fiber paste, I'll explain to it. What it is, it's a medium, gel medium, or which I'll go over it right now. Golden medium or golden art mediums makes this. It's a fiber. It's called fiber paste, and what it is, it's a flexible, rough medium that has fiber like homemade paper consistency in it. And so when you use it on a project, you'll have that paper texture to it, and it has a really nice. I like the finish on it. It's not really smooth. And you can use it as like a regular base on canvas or paper. You can use it with, you can make it smooth, you can make it rough, so there is a lot of texture in it. So that's one reason why I like using it a lot, is that you can use it for a lot of different projects, but it gives you that really neat texture that you would kind of see with some of your handmade papers. So the thinner you put it on, the more noticeable the actual paper texture is than if you put it on heavier like I usually do. But that kind of gives you the rundown of what the fiber paste is. This one is made by Golden. I believe Liquitex might make some as well. I'm not sure. But I basically use their product anyways. So, but we'll be using this in a little bit. So we'll go over kind of different ways you can apply it as well. I'm going to go back over with my Adirondack spray. This again is a little bit watered down just so it's not quite as vibrant. I'm going to show you what the full power of the Adirondack spray is. That is full power. That is how dark it is. So that is kind of why I lightened it with my with some water, because it is really heavy, really rich and concentrated. So you get a lot of color with their dyes. So now that I have my cover done, I'm going to go ahead and do the back real quick so that they can dry at the same time. Again, my golden terracotta. And you can see the resist come through on this one really nicely. So it already has a pattern there for you. You just use your mediums to pull that pattern out. Come on, come on. I need a regular spray bottle, I think. This is too slow. All right. You can also use you can also use masks or screens while you're spraying to give your inside panels their own pattern as well. I'll probably go through back over this one and add some different stamped images and things like that, just to add some depth to it without adding depth to it. So let's wipe my surface off. So we have our inside and outside covers. And now we'll be able to go back over and alter them, or embellish them, I should say. Let's make sure I have it facing you guys. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull out my the doilies out of this pack. And you will need gesso. I forgot that one piece of information for you. You will need some gesso to alter these with. The gesso, these are dyed, so when you put the gesso on top of them, the gesso will pull out the dye in the flowers. So don't be surprised if you see color pop through your dye or your gesso. It'll be faint, but it will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these down. I'm going to glue them down. I'm using my big old bottle of fabric tack. The fabric tack will hold it down even though the canvas is wet, so I don't have to worry about it waiting until it's dry, which is nice because I'm the worst at waiting on projects. Waiting for paint to dry? No, that's why they made it heat guns. So I'm just kind of staggering them so that they're kind of separated in a triangular shape, and that way when I layer my other flowers on top, they'll peek through just enough to where I can see them as an element on the page or on the cover. Okay, so I'm going to go put that down. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cover them with some gesso. You'll have some gesso on your cover as well, but that's okay because your flowers will cover them mostly. If I can get my gesso open. It's being difficult, people. Let's see. I need a brush. Okay. I'm just going to pour a little bit on the flowers. That way I'm not making too big of a mess. I'm just going to paint this over them. And I'm just doing this to kind of tone down the color in these pieces. I could have done it beforehand, but that's another waiting for something to dry. So I'm just going to add a little bit onto my project. And again, if it gets on your cover, that's fine. It just adds more little details, another little detail to your cover. Artistic touch. Okay. I locked him out. He's knocking on the door. Okay. So we have these mainly covered, so they're more of a subtle touch than they were when we first put them on there. And what I'm going to take now, I'm going to set this aside and let the gesso dry just a little bit while we go ahead and alter our pink flowers. And this is going to be another show and tell on how rich the Adirondack sprays are. I'm just going to put this down so I don't make too big of a mess. I'm going to use the mushroom to color these with. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I've had these sprays for going on at least 4 years. And I still have all of this left. So I'm just going to spray over the top. Come on. And look at how little it took for these to color my flowers. I'm running out of this one. I need more mushroom. As you can tell, it's one of my favorite colors. So really quickly, just spraying a little bit of the Adirondack spray, we went ahead and altered these flowers so they'd match more closely with the colors of our page or our album. And I just went ahead and sprayed those. Now another element we're going to pull apart now before we glue it all together is the fabric paper or the handmade paper. What I did was, you'll see in this paper there's really nice heavy fibers in this, and with the long fibers that pull apart out of it, it's a really nice little extra touch to the album to have them kind of just laying across the page. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the cover. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and glue down my two mushroom colored flowers. My newly mushroom colored flowers. Let's go ahead and put one right here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab one of my sassy flowers just to kind of gauge where I want the other one at. Put this little guy right there. Oh, some of these are really upset. This is paper. This is made by Prima. They came out with it a few CHAs ago. It is a fiber paper. It comes in a package like this, in case you missed it. It comes in a package like this. They usually come with 3 different sheets of the paper. It's handmade paper, plus it comes with a little set of flowers as well. And you can see this one comes with a couple shades of pink and yellow. You can see the different colors in there and the different textures. So these are a really cool element to use. So I'm going to just tuck a few pieces. I'm just ripping just odd sizes. Doesn't have to be anything exact. I just want some of the extra heavier fibers to stick out. And I want them tucked under, so you just see bits and pieces of it. You don't need any real large, you know, piece standing out. I can pull, oop, didn't want to pull that much off. But I can just glue it back down. And let's add another, like, long piece up here. And just tuck it on my flowers. So it's just a little peekaboo accent. Just like that. You can see how they kind of stick out there. Okay. Now I'm going to take my, where did you go? I have everything piled up here. Sorry, guys. This little one right here. And I'm going to go ahead and spray this real quick to kind of give it a little more color. And I'm going to go ahead and use the golden terracotta so it matches our album. You can see it just gives it a little more color. And again, you can heat dry these. I'm going to go ahead and put it on there because we're using all the same colors. You can go ahead and put it on if the colors bleed onto your album. It really won't make a difference because you're using light colors, so it'll just blend into whatever you're working on. Now the tail, what I want to do with the tail is I want to straighten it, and I want it to kind of curve down so that it looks like it's coming to a point. Just like that. And this is kind of the centerpiece to the book, along with the sassy flower. So I'm just going to glue that down. I'm going to move him out just a little bit. Okay, so we have all of our elements except our last little flower. So I'm going to put him down. Oh no, I'm turning into Carrie. Everything's going to become him. Uh-oh. Alright. So we have our last flower down. We have all of our flowers placed. And now, just to add another extra little element to it, I'm going to now go back to our fiber paste. Again, this can be used as a base, or what they call a ground, for paper and canvas. And what it does is it gives a nice handmade paper feel to it. And what I'm going to use it for is more of a dimensional accent. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run my fiber paste around the edge. You can also use molding paste. You can even use gesso. Gesso's it takes a little bit longer to set, and it takes a few more layers. So I'm just kind of running it around the edges just to kind of take the boring flat appearance of the album away. I'm going to take my fiber paste also over my flowers a bit. You don't have to do this. This is just something I like to do. It just kind of gives it more definition. It breaks up the color as well. It softens it a little bit. Also, the mushroom, the flowers I sprayed with the mushroom will fade once the color dries. So they look really bold right now on the book. But as you can see on this one, the color, once it dries, lightens quite a bit. So there is going to be a difference in that. So again, I'm just continuing around the edges. Again, I like the fiber paste because it does have kind of a grit to it, but it's not it's not like sand, it's more fiber, which would make sense because that's why it's called fiber paste. Just adding some more to the flowers. Okay. I think that's pretty good for the cover. So that's what we've got for the cover. Does anybody have any questions before I continue? I can't see it. Hold on. Okay. Trying to see the chat real quick. And it keeps skipping on me. I'm just going to say hi, so it'll leave me there. Okay. So I'm going to show you the inside. I'm going to show you the insert that you can also get with these. And we'll go ahead and do a couple pages and give you a couple more little techniques that you can use. Even if you don't do an art journal, if you don't do mixed media journal, you can even include these techniques in on your scrapbook pages or even your cards, your handmade cards. You can add these dimensions to your projects to give them a little more life. So let's go ahead and put that aside. And I'm going to grab the insert. The fiber paste, I would set it aside and let it dry for at least a couple hours. It should be dry to the touch by then. Just to be safe, they always suggest overnight. As I said before, I'm impatient. So you can take the heat gun to it and speed up the process so that you could at least handle it. But yeah, mainly it is about overnight, but I'd say a couple hours you can definitely mess with it. So in this in the mixed media album, let me show you all the goodies. We have 2 cards that have like a distressed pattern on them, and they have almost like a semi-gloss finish on them. So you can use different alcohol inks and such on these and would work really well. You also have a few more of the pattern sheets in here. You can see these, and they're all double-sided. So you can even use these to cut them up or use them as a sheet. You have this one as well with really nice vintage style papers on them, or designs on them. You even have this little calendar sheet. And here's another one with like a crackle finish background. So these are really fun to build off of. Try to fix my colors, you guys. We also have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and 4 raw unfinished canvas papers, and they're pretty thick consistency, which is nice when you're using multi-mediums. You don't have to worry about them, you know, pulling apart or destroying, you know, once you put all of your wet mediums on it. You also have, hold on. You also get more resist canvas in here. You have 4 sheets of the resist canvas, which all 4 sheets have a different pattern on them. You have like a music sheet pattern. My coloring's bad. Sorry, guys. You have the rewind. You have like a music sheet pattern. You have more of the flowery pattern that's on the cover. You also have a damask type pattern, and you also have a script pattern on this as well. So there's 4, and I'll go ahead and spray these in a bit to show you the different patterns that are on there. You also get a few of these sheet protectors that you can go ahead and make pages of your own and put them in the protectors so that they're nice and concealed in the book. If you want to put, you know, pieces of little bits and pieces of the project in there, that'll hold it as well. And you also get 4 pieces of the watercolor paper too, which is really nice, and I'm going to show you a few techniques on these. So let's go ahead and put these cards aside for right now. I'm going to show you a project using 2 of the watercolor papers. And first I'm going to go ahead and we're going to use for these, and this isn't in the description list because we weren't sure if we were going to have time, but I have time to do some of it. We're going to go ahead and use some pan pastels for this technique. We're also going to be using Donna Downey's heart stamp, one of my favorites. And we're also going to be using a Versamark pad, or you can use like an embossing pad. I'm going to probably use Tim's Distress Embossing ink. It's a heavier, thicker ink, so it'll soak into the paper a lot easier. I'm also going to need some type of sealant, so I'm going to have my matte finish spray. That way, with the pan pastels, I'll be able to do more layers with the pastels. So go ahead and take my lid off of those. And first, what I'm going to do, and another reason why, let me make sure my pages are lined up, because I'm going to make the center of my page my heart. Another reason why I went ahead and decided to use the embossing ink, Tim's embossing ink, is because with the foam stamp, it'll cover the stamp a lot better than a regular like thinner Versamark ink would. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover my entire stamp with the ink. Okay. Keep making sure that it's totally covered. Make sure your pages are lined up. And I'm just going to go ahead and center this between my 2 pages. Make sure you press down firmly. Nice part of Donna's stamps is they come already with the acrylic backing on them. Okay. So it looks like I have a pretty good imprint. You can kind of see it on the page. Well, I can see it on the page. And I'm going to go ahead and use this really bright red color. And this color is Permanent Red, Pan Pastel, and I am going to take my pastel sponge. This guy right here, here's some more of it's called Soft, are their tools. It's Pan Pastel's tools line, and this is what they look like. You also have the nice big sponges for larger areas, which I'm going to use right now. And over the resist, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this red, and I'm just going to go right over the top of it. And as you can see, that the embossing ink created a resist on our canvas, or on our watercolor paper, sorry. Come on. Stay together for just a second. I'm just kind of getting the color over it, and then I'll fine tune it. You don't want to press too hard with the sponge, because it could cause your embossing ink to kind of smudge a little bit. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my sponge over and kind of just pull out some of my chalk and smooth it out a little bit. Lightly dab it. Kind of blend this side out as well. So we have this cute little heart in the center. Ooh. Okay. So there's one little, yes, what I did was I used the Tim's Distress Embossing ink with Donna's foam heart stamp, and I went ahead and went over the embossed image, or the embossed inked image, with the Pan Pastels, and the color again I used was Permanent Red, and I used their large sponge, blended it over. Make sure you don't press too hard, because it will cause some of your ink to spread. And then I just kind of blended it out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and spray it with a fixative. This way I can go ahead and add another layer of art medium on top of it without it distorting my first layer of Pan Pastels. Make sure when you're using your sprays, like I am right now, that you're in a well-ventilated area. I'm going to let that dry just a second. And as you can see, I added a lot of color to my page without having my watercolor buckle or anything like that. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of the Sharpie's paint pens. I love these. I always have a couple on hand. This is a brand new one. Some of my others kind of croaked over the weekend with the class. The Sharpie paint pens, they have water-based and oil-based. I suggest the oil-based just because they don't bleed as much when you're using them with other mediums or on wet projects. Come on. I am in a well-ventilated room. Plus I have the air on, so we're good. What's a few less brain cells anyways. Alright, so I have my pen working now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark my meeting spots in the center. That way I don't have to worry about them slipping while I'm working on this. So I'm just going to take this side, and I'm just going to draw just a crude little heart around the edge. I don't have quite enough ink coming out. Come on, there we go. just some little stitching or doodling, I should say. And as you can see, this pin's working right over the top of my spray in medium with no problem at all. Just like that. I'm winging it right now, you guys, so I hope these come out okay. Next, I'm going to take some of, let's see, I'm going to take one of our masks. Where did it just go? I'm going to take our brick mask, just like this, and I am going to take another color of our Pan Pastels, which is like a darker, let's try this. Just a second, let me test the color. Yeah, we won't try that color. Let's try green. Why not? Okay. Now I'm going to use the green. I'm going to take my sponge again. And with my mask, I'm going to go ahead and color over the top of it. Making sure that I get all of my pigment into my screen so I have a nice masked image. And you'll be able to see that our embossing ink has even resisted my second layer of chalk or pastel, Pan Pastel. It is not the same, people. I'm telling you right now. Okay. So I think I've got a pretty good surface. So we have this little image over here. I'm going to add another little spot on this side. Just a little one. Oh, don't move on me. You do have to be careful using your sponges with the mask. So sometimes it will break them up a little bit. So just be careful when using those. All right. So with this layer, again, I'm going to go ahead and spray it just so that it doesn't blend my colors together. Ugh. Aren't those fun? They're so easy to use too. They're caked pastel. They have a lot less dust than you would with the sticks that a lot of us used growing up. These just make it a lot more convenient to use, and you get a lot of pastel in this one little cake. So here are some of the other colors that they have. They have a huge variety of colors and that are great to use with Prima stuff. So let's see, what should we add next? I don't know. I'm thinking, hold on. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I am now going to grab some of, let's see. Let's see. Sorry, girls. I know. Where's my flowers? My flat flowers. Okay, I'm going to take some of these. Just a couple. I'm going to put them down with glue. Actually, I'm going to grab my gel medium. my economy size jug of gel medium. I'm going to take my paintbrush. I'm going to go ahead and paint over the top, or yeah, over the top of my chalk. As you can see, or my pastels, and as you can see, my pastels aren't going anywhere. Now I'm just going to kind of brush these down, making sure that they're nice and wet so that they stay in place and they're not working. And I have chalk on my hands. Trying to decoupage these and they're not working. Make sure that they're really wet. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and spray these too. It makes it a little easier to get them to lay flat on the project. There we go. Now it's behaving. And don't worry that they don't match, because believe me, we're going to change that right about now. This one over here. Put this little guy down over here. See, I got this one wet. See how easily he went down flat on my page. Let's get him wet too. Come on. All right. Let me just tack this one down a little better. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray right over the top of it. Actually, I'm going to use, all right, there we go. So what I did was I used my gel medium with some wet, flat, essential flowers. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my spray. Let's see, what spray should I use? Which color should I use, you guys? Green. Okay, Sherry. We're gonna spray a little bit over the top of these flowers so that they kind of blend into one another. Let me try this spray real quick and see what color we have here. No. Let's try this one. I'm gonna use this one. I'm using orange. You want cornflower blue? Actually, you know what? I am using, okay, I'm using Shimmer's paints, their colorings. It's the Mandarin Mai Tai. I'm just going to splatter some on here real quick to add more color. I just take the lid off and use the tube, the spray tube as my spritzer. Okay, now let's choose another color to spray over the top. It has eyeballs. Okay, let's go ahead and use the orange, the Tuscan Sun that we used on the cover. You want to make sure that it's heavy because your gel medium will resist the spray. And I'm going to actually use Alaskan Salmon because the chalkboard mist holds heavier to the gel medium. Now I am going to use my heat gun, or we will be here all night long. Oh. Helps if it's plugged in. Just a second. There we go. And you could see still my hand pastels underneath have not been disturbed at all. The color is still there underneath my other layers. I'm just trying to quickly get it a little bit dry so we can add another layer to it. Yeah, if you have a clogged sprayer, go ahead and pull them apart. Put them in as hot water as you can with some dish soap, and let them sit in there for a few minutes, and they will unclog. Also, I found that if you put like a little bead or agitator in the bottom of your sprays, that they won't clog as often. I kind of have a hit and miss that it's worked really well for me, and then still there's some sprays that still just no matter what clog. I'm kind of using my heat gun to vein out some of the excess spray that's on my page. Alright. I think we're pretty close to being dry. I can go on for hours trying to add more dimension to this. I just want to add one more thing. Clean up some of my mess real quick. Chicken wire stamp. Okay, let me find my chicken wire stamp. I can do that. I love the chicken wire stamp. I wish we had one that had a little bit bigger design on it. I actually have one handy here. Ta-da! Right here. When I do my background stamps, I don't use an actual acrylic backing brick with it. I just use the backing that it comes on with. That way I can maneuver it easier while I'm stamping. Let's find my black. I'm using Ranger's Archival ink in jet black. Just going to stamp just a spot in the center. Oh, I should have used my chalk inks. Actually, you know what? I am going to do that. Ta-da! Look at this beautiful collection of them. Don't you want them? They are so awesome. Can you tell I love them? Okay, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and use branch bark on top of the black ink that I just used. And look at these. They already come with a handle, and then you have like the iron shape so you can get into the little fine spaces when you're distressing. And you also have the wide edge, so when you're inking a wide or broad area. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead, place it down in the center, and then just spread it out just a little bit so I can get part of the inked or the stamped image on there. Add a little bit more of the chalk ink. Add some up here. Do-do-do. I love sequined waist. That is one of my favorites. My favorite pattern to use. I'm out though. Alright. So we added some stamping. And I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges of this. No, I'm going to leave it. So what I can do now that I kind of have a background I could build off of, You can add your journaling, you could add photos and add more layers. You can, this is kind of just a base of what you could build off of. Let's see. I think that's it. Is there anything else? We're right about 7:30. Carrie, why don't we go ahead and pick our winners for tonight? See, ta-da! I love this shimmers. I'm going to go ahead and, while she's picking a winner, I'm going to add one little extra. I needed some more black on here, just to kind of pull it out from the center so that the outsides didn't look so stark. In the art department area, by where their pins are. This one I got at Dick Blick's. It's waterproof India ink, which most of them are. And I just went ahead and splattered it on there. That way it pulls the black from my stamp outwards, carries that color throughout the piece of paper. All right. Trying to catch up, girls. Okay. So do we have a winner? I'm trying to get my chat back. It disappeared on me. Oh, pooey, come on. And here again is what the cover looked like. This is the finished one. The other one's still sitting aside drying. And all I did was I put my actual album in and made sure that everything was put together. Uh-oh, I'm frozen, you guys. My computer's frozen. I don't know if I'm still on or not. Okay. Okay, I think well, thank you, you guys. I'm so glad you guys were able to come and join in. And Carrie will give me who she chose for the mixed media album, and I'll get it out to you this week. Hopefully tomorrow. If not, it will be Monday or Tuesday. But I will get it out to you guys so you can get started on your own art journal mixed medium album, and we could see all of your yummy projects you make in it. I'm still trying to get out of here, and it's not letting me. Here we go.